Global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news. Stay tuned. Hello guys, welcome to Global Happenings Today. We have a trending news here for you, and the headline reads, "See why Hope Uzodinma and his lawyers are fighting against Supreme Court review of Emeka Ihedioha's appeal." All right, but before we continue with details of the news and further analysis, we would like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button and also on the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish video on YouTube. All right, let's look at the news in detail. Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State has said that the Supreme Court no longer has power to hear the application for the review of the January 14, 2020 judgment, which sacked his predecessor Emeka Ihedioha from office and installed him as his replacement. The governor, through his lawyer, Damian Dudu, senior advocate of Nigeria, argued that the time within which the court was permitted to entertain case which emanated from an election petition had passed. He also cited the provision of Order 8, Rule 16 of the Supreme Court Rule 2014, which he said prohibits the court from reviewing its judgment once delivered, save to correct clerical mistakes or accidental slip. This is contained in his preliminary objection, which he filed against the application filed by Ihedioha seeking the review and reversal of the January 14, 2020 judgment of the Apex Court. The preliminary objection stated in part, and I quote, "The application being a proceeding relating to or arising from election of a governor is barred by exclusion of time. The application constitutes an invitation to the Supreme Court to sit on appeal over its final decision. Having delivered its final decision on the first and second respondents, appeal number SC 1462/2019, between Senator Hope Uzodinma and Right Honorable Emeka Ihedioha, and to the Supreme Court, has become functus officio and devastated of jurisdictions over the same subject matter. Order 8, Rule 16 of the Supreme Court Rule 2014 prohibits this Honorable Court from reviewing the judgment once given and delivered, save to correct clerical mistakes or accidental slip. The judgment sought to be set aside, having been given effect by the inauguration of the first respondent / objector as governor of Imo State. This Honorable Court lacks the jurisdiction to grant the prayer sought. Uzodinma added that Ihedioha's application constitutes an abuse of court process and is against public policy. Uzodinma, who is of the All Progressive Congress, also described it as an invitation to the court to indulge in academic exercise and answer hypothetical question. Wow. Said the 7-man panel of the Apex Court, led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Muhammad, had in its January 14, 2020 judgment removed Ihedioha as the governor of Imo State and declared Uzodinma as the winner of the last governorship election in the state. Justice Kulirat Kekere Ekong, who read the late judgment, had upheld Uzodinma's appeal, ruling that the vote pooled in 388 out of the 3,523 polling units were excluded in the final result declared by INEC in the state. The Apex Court held that Uzodinma emerged winner of the election after the addition of the excluded votes. But Ihedioha, through his lead counsel, Chief Kanu Agabi, senior advocate of Nigeria, the former Attorney General of the Federation, had on February 5, 2020 filed an application before the court seeking an order setting aside as a nullity the January 14 judgment. He argued in the application, anchored on Section 6, subsection 6 of the Nigerian Constitution and Section 22 of the Supreme Court Act 2014, that the judgment was obtained by fraud or deceit. He added that the apex court was misled to give the judgment. In alleging fraud, however, Ihedioha and the PDP claim that Uzodinma and his party fraudulently misled the apex court into holding that 213,495 votes were unlawfully excluded from the votes they scored in the governorship election held on March 8, 2019. They said by Exhibition A1, the total number of voted accredited for the election was 823,743, while the total valid vote cast was 731,485. The inclusion of 213,698 votes for the first appellants to respondent, they argued, made the total number of votes cast at the election to be more than the total number of votes accredited for the election. The apex court has fixed Tuesday for the hearing of the application. Wow. We are waiting for that D-Day. This is quite interesting. These guys are trying to be smart, talking about Uzodinma. And for me, the question is, why are they overly scared? Why are they demanding that Emeka Ihedioha's case should be nullified? Why is fear looming? Because for me, what I'm seeing there is fear is looming in their camp. Talking about in the camp of Hope Uzodinma. The reason is because what Emeka Ihedioha is holding as a possible reason why he should be restored again as the governor of Imo State is too valid to be ignored. Even a child. What Emeka Ihedioha is holding right now as a proof why the judgment should be nullified is too valid to be ignored. And that's why you are seeing a lot of, shaking, a lot of agitation and all of that, banning protests. Don't forget that this same Uzodinma, when he went on and demanding that this case should be looked into in the Supreme Court, Emeka Ihedioha did not say anything because he knew that the possibility of him coming from fourth position to win was not there, and that this thing was not, it didn't hold water. What he brought in as a possible reason why he should be reinstated as the governor didn't hold much water. That was why. But Emeka Ihedioha during that time didn't even bother himself. But look at his own case. There's a lot of raging everywhere. He's writing letter. Stop it. But the truth of the matter is, we are waiting for February 18, and there is high hopes in Emeka Ihedioha's camp that certainly he's going to get back his mandate. What do you think about this?
A lot of things may likely work in favor of Emeka Ihedioha. Let's start with the fact that the world is watching, United States is watching. They are earnestly looking forward to the review of the Supreme Court. Don't forget that they're actually watching the Supreme Court, reminding them subtly that they are not shielded from the visa ban. Yes, and one of the consequences of not doing the right thing at the right time is the fact that they may likely face one of the major sanctions. I'm talking about the panel, not just the panels alone that will sit on the review, but every other Supreme Court justices that are in that makes up Supreme Court in Nigeria may likely have their property forfeited in the state if for any reason they are found wanting. Don't also forget that there have been protests and counter protests in Imo State. Even PDP have gone nationwide over it, talking about the fact that the review does not add up. It's so crazy, adding figures that don't make sense. The whole thing looked so childish. Even if you want to, somebody will say, if you want to eat frog, eat big frog. So when they call you frog eater, you say, yes, I ate frog. Not the one you eat very small frog, and yet they call you frog eater. You collect a name that does not even befit the frog you have eaten. If you want to even do scam, do a clean scam. the one that even other world leaders will look at, they will not understand it. Not the one that even a primary school person will detect easily that this is scam. So they have the review justices that's those who will be reviewing this court case. The justices involved, they have their name to protect. They also have their name to redeem. They have the fact that they need to bring back hope for the common man. So I have every reason, and I'm sure Hope Uzodinma have every reason to be scared. Don't forget, fairly recently, the National State Assembly lawmakers in the state, Imo State, have stylishly tried banning protests, and even one further to say there's no need really for Emeka Ihedioha to go all about looking for a redress and review of the Supreme Court case, judging the fact that Hope Uzodinma is also a son of the soil. Yes, son of the soil. It's not like he's a foreigner that is coming to rule Imo. Just that you should allow peace to reign. And I ask, what is the peace that is not reigning before? They allow peace to reign, and apart from that, in fact, the problem is not even Hope or Emeka. The truth of the matter is they should blame the REC, that is the INEC returning officer, who made the mistake. But when Emeka Ihedioha was on the seat, nobody remembered that Emeka Ihedioha is an Imolite. It's not an Imolite. So why was Hope Uzodinma still working to the point of getting to the apex court to redeem what he felt was his mandate? He did not remember he was also an Imolite, and Emeka Ihedioha was an Imolite. But when he called to Emeka Ihedioha's time, because they have all of them are now, I'm just wondering, now that they've all ported to APC, if Emeka Ihedioha redeems back his mandate, they have to remain in APC.
Some of them may want to move. Some of them may want to move back to PDP.
That would be foolish. That would be foolish.
These guys, they don't have shame.
That's why you see them try to say, look, how can I port back again? So let the hope just remain now. Yeah. See them try to say, please, because the truth of the matter is, if they review this case, it's going to be very pathetic. Because honestly, 2 plus 2 is actually 4. Yes. There's no place when it's not calculus where you say 2 plus 2 becomes 5. Mm-hmm. So yes, Hope Uzodinma have every reason to be scared if they review the case. And there are quite a lot of people watching this case. Internationally, the world is watching. US is seriously watching. So the fact they're actually telling them to look, correct the mistake you guys have made. They're using Hope Uzodinma's case versus Emeka Ihedioha's case as a typical example of the number of fraudulent judgments they get to see in Nigeria. So if there's going to be a review, all eyes are on that case. Imolites are watching, all parties are watching. The president, in fact, I'm sure that presidency will not react to this one. Yeah, exactly. This one is jump and pass. So don't even react to this. Whatever judgment that comes, everybody should just take it in good faith.
And that is why I think maybe that's one of the reasons why the president will be embarking on this thing. Possible trip, I think he's going on vacation come Wednesday, which is the 19th of February 2020. So I think he doesn't want to say anything about it. Whatever becomes the case, I'm out of Nigeria. After 20 days, I'll be back.
Another thing now, let me shake a little tables here. I'm beginning to wonder if eventually Emeka Ihedioha gets back his mandate, what will Reverend Father Mbaka say?
Because that the Lord made the Lord fulfill His prophecy, and along the line, Emeka Ihedioha must have prayed to the Lord, and the Lord, a lot of.
I can't forget the words. He said, "Hope has come." Yes. The hope that will change the Imo life. Hope Uzodinma that will change. So, if hope has come, that means if hope leaves, that means Imolites have lost hope. Yes. And in fact, I'm holding my peace. Let the review case come. Let's see what the Supreme Court will say. Then I'll see what is in my mind.
Well, the day is not really far. It's just Tuesday. Tomorrow we'll be seeing the result will be out before 5 o'clock. So certainly Nigerians will get to know what will happen in Imo State. If they're going to PDP, will start tearing the postcard or posters of this guy, Uzodinma, just like the way APC did when they heard that this guy was out of position. So, however, we are hopeful that the green cap man will come out smooth.